Hi everyone, this is Dee from Passion for Paper Beads on Etsy.com, and today we're continuing our lessons working with fancy paper napkins from my new tutorial. And today is lesson 5, and I believe this is the last lesson if we can get it all in one shot. So here we go. Yesterday I told you about making these, and what I wanted to do today was show you how to roll the paper. It's really quite the same as doing the napkins, but I thought it would be nice to show you the paper. So I've already started one on my bead roller here, and I'm going to show you how to do the rolling. I like to use the Mod Podge to do this because I think that it sets up a little bit faster than the regular white glue, but you can use the white glue. I just prefer the Mod Podge. Either one will work fine. So you put a little bit of glue at the corner, just like you do with the napkins, and then you're going to fold it over and hold it down for a second or two, and then you just want to back this up so that it's firmly along the edge of the stick there. You can slide your stick back and forth to make sure it moves, and then you're going to go ahead and you're just going to start rolling. After you do a couple of rolls, it's good to make sure that your stick's still moving, that you didn't get it too tight, and then you're just going to roll it up, put some glue, like so, and continue rolling it to the end, making sure that your end is tucked down and staying down there. And then you just slide it straight up off the stick, and then you just simply flatten it, like so. Now with these, because they're thicker paper, I like to bend them a little bit before I start. And then this is this last strip. I wanted to have the blues and greens on the outer edge. So this end right here doesn't have the pretty color, so that's the end I'm going to start with. I'm going to pick up where I left off and put some glue here. And then I'm just going to add this one in, just like we did before. And push it down with your finger, flip it over, and you want to put more glue, like so. Flip it back over, and with these, because they are a little thicker paper, you have to give it a little bit more pulling to get it nice and tight, to keep all your coils really nicely wound. With the napkins, they were so soft, you don't have to pull too much. But with these thicker papers, you do. When you get to the end, make sure you have glue and hold it into place. Now, this is one full sheet. This is a different picture that I'm going to show you, but this was made from one full sheet from the coupon inserts. If you wanted to make it bigger, larger in diameter, you would just use more sheets. And sometimes you can find other ads that are very comparable in color, or you can mix whatever colors you want. You can go through and pick out other colors. This one had some purple and blue in it, so if I wanted to make it bigger, I probably would have added something like this in. So you can make them as large as you want them. And that is how we made these. And then you just grab it and twist it till it comes off. Go ahead and take it and press it down on a firm surface, and then there you have it. So these are the same as these other ones that I already made. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is making nuggets. You're probably thinking, what in the heck are nuggets? Well, nuggets are made with napkins. So we're back to the napkins. And what you're going to want to have is you're going to want some napkins cut into small squares, and I will have the dimensions for the different size napkins and how to cut them. So you're going to have something that looks like this. And if you want to make larger diameter nuggets, these are just squares of toilet paper, white toilet paper. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Now for this one, I'm going to use the Elmer's glue, because if you decide you want to sand your nuggets when they're all done and dried, the Mod Podge just doesn't sand well at all. So I'm going to show you what they look like finished. These are the nuggets right here. This one has been sanded after it dried, and then this one's been dipped in Vibrance like 2 times. And then these were just left rough and chunky looking. So you can see those. So that's what we're going to be making today, is the paper nuggets. And here's some nuggets that I made yesterday out of the same napkins that we're going to be using today. This is what they're starting to look like so far. So they have some really nice colors. Actually, this one right here was made out of the same napkin, and it's really quite pretty. It looks like stone, almost like a marble kind of a marbly effect. So now I'm going to show you how to make these, and these really are quite easy. You will need a pair of gloves, because I did it the first time. I didn't have gloves on, and I thought I would never finish washing all the glue off my hands. It was terrible. Very sticky. So, to make the really small nugget, you're going to take your napkin and all the white paper still attached, and you're going to put glue on it. You're going to put glue in the middle, like so, and then you're going to just fold it all up, trying to keep the white paper to the center, like so, and then you're just going to smash it between your fingers till the glue starts to come out. Like this. So now you have something that's starting to look like this. And then I have a cup of water up here. I'm just going to put a little bit of water and a tiny bit more glue. And you're just going to roll it like you're making meatballs. Okay? And you can just roll it until you get a nice tight little ball. You don't want to get too much water, because then it's going to be mushy, and you don't want it to be too smushy. So then you have your little nugget, and in my cup of water I have a shish kebab skewer that's been soaking. And what I found that you want to do is you want to at least make a starter hole, so it was just like making the hole in the pendant. Find the center. This is going to be hard to get on the video. Maybe if I try and hold it up this way. Take it and just twist it. And don't worry about going all the way through. That's not the goal right now. The goal is to have a little dimple in it, so that when you go to make your holes later, you have a starting point. Because if you let it dry hard and it's perfectly round, it's really hard with the drill to go back and make a hole. So you've just got a little indentation that's probably about maybe that far up the stick. It's not going in too much. If you push it in too much, you're going to distort the shape of your bead or make the sides crack. So there's one, and stay there. If you want to make it larger, I would use the toilet paper and just put some glue and smash it all around. Get a little water, put a little more glue, and roll it. This will make your napkins go farther doing it this way, because you don't need to use the colored part on the inside. These gloves are really quite large on me. A little more glue. If it's cracking, just keep rolling it till it looks pretty smooth. Once you get a nice ball going, then you're just going to take your colored paper and you're going to put your ball in the middle, more glue. Then you're going to fold it all up, smash it around again. And if you wanted it bigger than this, you could use another sheet of the toilet paper and put it around your first ball that you started making, and then put your color on last, and you will get a larger one like that one I showed you that was finished. You're just going to roll it until you get something that looks like that. And then again, your stick in the water, and you just want to make a little indentation. Okay, and if you got a little bit off when you did that, just push it back together again. If you see a few little cracks and things here and there, once it's all hard, it won't come apart on you. I haven't had one single one crack open on me when I drilled them at all. So that's how you make the nuggets. And if you wanted to make some that were solid colors, you can use the acrylic paint, and I would suggest going to like the dollar store and getting the small bottles of glue about this size, it's the cheap store, and add the color right into the glue until you get the color you want. And that way you don't have to go back and paint them when you're done, and they would look something like this. These haven't been base coated or glazed. They just had the turquoise colored paint added right into the glue, and I just made these out of napkins. I didn't use, I'm sorry, out of toilet paper. I didn't use the fancy napkins. I just simply used the regular toilet paper. Add the paint in with the glue, like I said, stir it around till you get the color you want. Or you could put it maybe like on a styrofoam plate, put the glue on a plate and mix paint into it. And you could probably use the shish kebab skewer and just pick up the paint as you go and do it that way if you don't want to make a large amount of the paint. So the next thing I want to show you is drilling these. So I have my piece of wood here, and I have my Dremel. This is my Dremel. It's a hand tool that a lot of people that make jewelry and do crafts like to have these. If you don't want to spend money on a Dremel, you can go to Harbor Freight and pick up something very comparable for about $20. And there's all kinds of different attachments that come with them. And I'll show you how to do the attachments after we do this part. So this bead right here has a little indentation right there. It just gives a nice place for it to sit. So you just put it in, try and hold it straight, turn it on with slight pressure. You don't want to press super hard, too fast. You do definitely want to have a piece of wood under this when you do it. Turn it off. See how we're doing. Now I'm going to hold it with my fingers, but be careful. We don't want to have anybody have holes drilled in their fingers. Okay, so once you drill your hole, then you go back with your shish kebab skewer and just put it in and turn it on both sides, like so. And that'll give you a really nice clean bead hole that's the same on both sides. So that is how you drill them. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is yesterday we were making these tubes. Oh, I still need my wood. We were making these tubes, and I showed you how to cut them with the scissors. Now, excuse me for reaching. When you cut with the scissors, you get a very kind of a funky, rustic look, that the beads aren't nice and smooth on the bottom. So you'll have something that looks like that. I'm going to show you how to cut it with a different tool. First, let me show you how to get these heads off. There's a blue button on here. For those of you who have Dremels and aren't sure how to do this, you push it in until it goes in. Sometimes you have to wiggle this back around, then the button pops down, and you just simply give that a little turn. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to put my cutting tool on. Put this back on. That goes in there. And you just slide it down till it's finger tight. And then with the key, you just give it about a quarter turn. And that's the wrong head. Hang on a second. This little metal piece inside is not fitting correctly for some reason. There we go. I just put it on backwards. I've done it enough times you'd think I'd have it right. There we go. Okay, so again, put it back on, a quarter turn, and I just put the drill head back on. Oh, I'm quite on a roll today. Well, we've been doing good 4 out of 5. Let me see if I can get this. I think I was right that I had the wrong head. Hang on one second. There we go. This should be the right head. Luckily, everything's close by. Okay, so this is the cutting tool, and I picked mine up at Home Depot. They sell Dremel parts there. And so now what I would do is I would go through and mark whatever length you decide you want this to be, and hold this down firmly. A little more power. Now that I've got my starter cut, and I just kind of go back and forth. The reason I'm working with the wood underneath is because once it just goes through all the way, you need something so that it doesn't go through your tabletop. This is a really strange angle for me to do this at, but I'm trying to do it so that you can see what I'm doing here. We're almost out of time. Come on, go through. That time I just rolled it towards me a little bit. Okay, so once you cut through it, the ends are still a little bit, they're not perfectly smooth. So there's another attachment that you can use for the Dremel that's a sanding disc. And where did it go? So this is the sanding disc. So again, I'm going to take this off. There we go. And put this on. Give it a quarter turn. Now, if you look at the top, there's a little button there, and it'll fit right on here, like so. And then I just turn this on and kind of push down and let up, push down and let up. And now the ends are all nice and smooth. Okay, you will need to go back and clean out your bead hole because it'll get all full of the paper that you just sanded off. And then you can just take a regular nail file, because you're going to have a little bit of an edge right there, and just go at an angle like this really fast, and it'll just bring that paper back to a nice smooth edge. If you get a little paper from the center, just stick it back in. Make sure your bead hole's open. Good. Okay, so that makes the edges more smoothed out, so you'll have a nice finished bead. And then, after you do that, you can just go ahead and take your paint, and I like to just put it, you can do this on a flat surface, or you can use the cosmetic triangular sponges. So here you're just going to be setting it in the paint, and then touch down on a hard surface like so. And remember to go back in, because the paint's going to close up your bead hole, and open your bead hole. And then you can either set it down and just let it dry and then do the other end. That's usually how I like to do it, because if you don't do it that way, you're liable to touch the paint and transfer it with your fingers to the other end. So that'll give it a really nice finish, and you'll have a whole bunch of tube beads. The beads that we were making, the nugget beads, they probably will have to dry at least 24 hours before you can drill them, depending on your weather and how hot it is, how much humidity is in the air. So, but you want them to be dry before you go ahead and drill your holes in. And then if you want to sand them to get them smooth like this, you would go ahead and use this Dremel attachment to sand it, and one of these wool tips to buff it out after that, and then you're ready to go and dip it in the in the vibrance, I would say 2 to 3 times to get a nice shine on it, and you will have some chunky beads that are very round. They look like stone, and of course because they're paper, they're going to be super light. So that's the last of our classes. I hope you enjoyed all these videos, and I might come back and do just a picture video of everything finished, dipped and glazed, and what did I do with it afterwards. So thank you for watching.